Welcome everyone. Hope we're having a lovely day. My name, like I said before, Christopher Mudd. I am a political science major going into my senior year. I am a French minor as well as a marketing minor, so I can answer a lot of questions about like a lot of our different departments at UTA. We have 180 plus degrees. 86 of those are bachelor's degrees. We have bachelor's degrees in all sorts of different subjects. It's one of the reasons why I came to UTA is because we have such a wide variety of programs, and a lot of those programs are highly ranked as well. And so like coming into college, I didn't know precisely what I wanted to do. So being able to have that like variety of different options to choose from was really important. And you see on there, we also have a 25-to-1 student to faculty ratio. That just means that you have a lot of easy access to your professors. Office hours are super easy to go to, talk to the professors. Nothing is ever going to be too too busy. You'll be able to like chime in and get any help you need, all that fun sort of stuff. All right, cool. So we will go on to the next slide. Some top-ranking programs, just to give you an idea of like some of the options you have if you haven't like quite decided yet. You can do architecture, so that's like, you're familiar with architects building buildings. There's also business, so if you want to go into accounting, finance, economics, any of that sort of stuff. We also have information systems, so that is a major where you are developing some of the systems that businesses use to like input information and keep stuff like that. We also have our communications department, that's our advertising, public relations, all those sort of things, mass media, broadcasting media. Our education department is really strong. Again, like I mentioned before, music education, have a lot of good friends there, as well as general like secondary and early childhood education. We have I have a few friends doing that sort of those majors, and our engineering department is really strong too. Engineering, we have all sorts of engineering, from aerospace engineering, so designing airplanes, mechanical engineering. Oh, Xander, you found the chat. Good job. So mechanical, aerospace, industrial, civil engineering, architectural engineering, biomedical, and computer science and engineering. So all those sorts of things, and they have a lot of different assistance through all of these separate departments and colleges. Other top-ranking programs we have, it is listed in alphabetical order. So the second half of the alphabet over here, you got our music programs and musical theater. As you see, we have our nursing department. So if you want to become a nurse, we have a really highly ranked nursing school with really great test scores on the Texas certification. We also have our social work department. So if you're interested in counseling and transition services, working with area hospitals, social work can help you get there. Computer classes like coding, yes. So we do have like in our computer science department, we do have like general computer science, learning how to code and writing all the code and things like that. That also, some of those classes are open to all majors. A lot of UTA programs have those options that are open to every major who like would like to like pursue those little interests. It's really encouraged here to branch out and check out like different areas. So you can totally do that. A culinary type degree. I don't know if we have a culinary or hostess. Hospitality degrees is really what that's under. I'm not really sure. I haven't really done a lot of like research with like our hospitality programs. But yeah, no, what you can do is if you want to, you can go to uta.edu and they have like an entire directory of all of the like programs and bachelor's degrees that we offer. Culinary type degrees, you'll probably find that under like hospitality and like services. So yeah, just so you know. Yeah, pre-professional programs. This is for people who want to go into specific like arts and stuff. So pre-medicine, pre-medicine and art, pre-dentistry, pre-pharmacy and pre-veterinary studies, pre-law. They just help you get into some professional programs. So everyone knows about law school, dentistry school, everyone knows about like medical school and all that type of thing. We have a lot of pre-professional programs that help like prime the students for getting into some of those departments and things. So yeah, just so y'all know. Cool. Does anyone have any questions about like those degrees? Cosmetology. I do not believe we have a cosmetology department at UTA. All right. Honors college. So really quick, y'all are in high school, so y'all are aware of like what like some honors classes can do. They're just like you go a little deeper into some of the topics, you study them a little more in depth. So in here in the honors college, that's just what happens. You have like a learning community that goes really in depth into some of the topics they study. They do a lot of separate research as well as they publish their senior projects. So they do have a specific thesis they have to write for their senior during their senior year, and so through that you do get the honors college certification. And so they have their own study lounge. They have priority registration, so they are like the first people who get to schedule for their upcoming semester and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, and study abroad as well. So got a lot of study abroad programs. You do have a couple of requirements for the honors college, and there is a deadline for it. So the deadline to apply for the honors college is that January 1st deadline. And that's going to be the January. As you can see, this was made a couple of years ago, but it's usually going to be that the first week of the year before you start. So if you're starting like fall 2022, then January of 2022 is when that like deadline is going to be. And it is a separate application from the general UTA application. But yeah, also just really quick, we have our own like study abroad programs, something I highly recommend doing. You can study abroad through all sorts of like our different organizations. As you can see, political sciences study in South Africa, kinesiology goes to Brazil, architecture goes to Italy. As part of a French minor, we get our own study abroad as well. So we are going to Paris next fall. And so like hopefully I get to go to Paris. That's just something to do, something not a lot of people get to do, and there is a lot of effort put in towards making study abroad like available for UTA students. Highly recommend checking that out. Just like, you know, make your experience a little fun while you're in college. Also, really quickly, there's something called the Maverick Way that we have. So the Maverick Way is just these 6 general ideas about UTA that really solidify the like what life is like at UTA and who UTA is. Those 6 pillars include diversity and inclusion, integrity, pride and tradition, involvement and engagement, respect and civility, and wellness. So that first one, diversity and inclusion, is very important to UTA. We are a very diverse population here. We are one of the most racially and ethnically diverse campuses in the nation. In addition to that, like racial and ethnic diversity, as you can see here through just some of these raw numbers from fall 2018, we have also a ton of socioeconomic and ability diversity. And so we are very proud of like what we do in regards to those like, you know, separate fields of like diversity and inclusion, like helping with all different like body types and, you know, all that different stuff. Cool. And again, just enhance your college experience. This slide, as you can see, you're not only here to study. So yeah, we do have all of these like extra classes and things. So we do have like all of the like, you know, courses and academics you take, but we also have people who like live on campus. You can live in our residence halls that we have. We should be able to see inside a residence hall on a virtual tour a little later. So like we have all this sort of stuff going on. Top left corner, bed races. That's where we have a 5-person team racing across our across the football field. That happens every spring. So that like all happens. You get to sign up as part of like your intramural like team, which is like intramural sports are like sports that happen through teams that they're within campus. That's really fun. That's a really great thing to play. That's just like, just do it. Do intramural sports. It's so fun. We have enhance your college experience also means like joining a ton of organizations and clubs and things is also really beneficial. It's one of the easiest ways to get involved is through our organizations fair. The organizations fair happens like the second Wednesday of the fall semester, and that's where all 300 different clubs and organizations for students come and like table, and you can sign up for all of their email lists if you want to. You can sign up for the ones you're interested in. I highly recommend doing that, and if you sign up for like a wide variety of them your freshman year, then by your sophomore and junior year, you can like sort of pick out the ones that really matter to you the most, and you can start moving up in their plans, and you can start moving up in their whole like leadership structures. And so by the time you're a senior, you have just a couple of really important to you organizations that you have like really high roles in, and that looks really good on a resume, just so you know. So all that sort of stuff, recommend doing all that. Um, so other stuff we have for students include Maverick Speaker Series. So as you can see here, it's just where distinguished members of their field come and talk to the students. So Terry Crews, Seth Meyers, and all these sorts of people just come talk to the students, help us out. And Terry Crews actually went to the theater department and he reviewed the monologues of some of our theater students, which they love to talk about and they love to brag about. So that all happens here too. Those are like free events for students to attend. But additionally, we have on-campus living. So this was, like I said, made a few years ago. We have 4 residence halls now, not 5. The oldest residence hall that we have was built in 2000. So that does mean that all of our residence halls are younger than I am, which is fun. And so in here we have all ensuite bathrooms. So that's why we are calling them residence halls and not dorms. We have no hall-wide bathrooms. You'll always have your bathroom connected to your room. As you can see in this lower left-hand corner, this is what we call a double occupancy style room. So there's 2 occupants in 1 common space. They have a bathroom that's just around the corner. They're provided the beds, the dresser, you have the desk and all that sort of stuff. Also, the residence halls are just spots for students to hang out. As you see in the bottom right corner, that is the main lobby of West Hall. So that's where students can just go, have a good time, just hang out. They have different events happening down there. So the Halloween party. So if you just like, if it works better financially for you to, you know, stay at home, you can do that. If you want to be in a residence hall, you can do that for all 4 years. If you want to go to an off-campus apartment, if you want to go to an on-campus apartment, all of that is available to you. You get all those choices, so you can like all decide that for yourselves. We're like 20 minutes from downtown Dallas and 20 minutes from downtown Fort Worth, so we got all that stuff going on. But yeah, cool. At the center of everything, party. Really quick, how to apply. All right, awesome. And don't worry, we're like nearing the end of this. How to apply. So we do have an Apply Texas or Common App application. If y'all want to put in like the chat, like, are y'all like juniors, seniors, sophomores? Where are y'all at in your high school careers? Like what like year are you going into this fall? Like if you want to like put that in the chat. Because we do have like a rolling admissions, a rolling deadline. So it's not like any like set time. But we do have a couple of like scholarship things that are due. But just through here, you see there's a $75 application fee, or you can just have a fee waiver. Then you have your SAT, ACT scores. That is no longer strictly necessary. That was made an optional choice when you go to UTA due to like 2020. There was a pandemic, if you don't remember. And so all of that stuff makes it so like really SAT and ACT scores are no longer like required to submit. You can submit them if you have them, if you like them, if you just want them to know. They will take it into account for some scholarships and stuff like that, so you can. But yeah, it's not strictly required anymore. You do have to send in an official high school transcript, and if you do dual credit, then dual credit transcripts as well. So in those, super simple, super quick, easy to do. Just make sure you send it electronically to the University of Texas at Arlington, and we can all take care of that here through like your GPA and like your class ranking. That's where we'll determine a lot of things about like what scholarships you can be eligible for. It'll like, you know, we can change some things about the admissions process. But yeah, so freshman admission criteria, just so y'all know, if you're in the top 25% of your class, there is no minimum. For like any SAT or ACT scores, you are automatically admitted into the university if you're in the top quarter. The second quarter, we do have some minimums. The second quarter of your class, since SAT, ACT scores are no longer necessary, we've transitioned over into using GPA markers, and they do change from year to year depending on the classes that graduate. So I graduated class of 2018, and we just had a larger class, so some of the requirements shifted due to that, just because there's more students coming through the system. So, you know, some of those things need to change. So it will change from year to year. So be sure you're looking out at that. If you're in the third or fourth quarter, that's what we call individual review. So individual review is just, you take a look at your application, see if you're like a holistic student. So you can submit the essay if you want to submit the essay. It'll just see like how, like what you do as a student and what you do outside of being a student, and like how that can contribute to UTA and all that good sort of stuff. But yeah. Cool. Sound good? Awesome. And then merit-based scholarships, again, this is just some general stuff that we have. The first week of December, that's usually when one of our big like scholarships comes due, the presidential scholar. If you have that like top 20% rank in your high school, then that means you automatically are admitted for the presidential scholarship, and just you have to have everything in by around that first week of December. So I really highly recommend, if you haven't started thinking about like, you know, when you want to have your scholarship or when you want to have all your applications done by, the first week of December is a really good date. Another really good date that's super easy to remember is Halloween. So if you have everything submitted to all the schools that you are looking to submit to, if everything is done by Halloween, October 31st, that'll probably get you access to all the sorts of stuff you need, all like the scholarship programs and merit-based scholarships and financial aid things for most universities in like both Texas and the United States. So I'd recommend like making sure you are looking at the applications and when they're all due. Also, there's something called the Federal Application for Financial Student Aid. It's also called FAFSA. And so make sure you have that done like as soon as you can. It is a first come, first serve, like federal and state financial aid program. And that always opens on October 1st. It's a whole thing. Oh my gosh. Cool. Wow. Yeah, my phone just loaded, so I got all your things. Junior, you're going into your senior year, so y'all are thinking about this. Sophomore right here. Oh, sophomores. Yeah, so again, those seniors, just make sure you're like looking out, making sure you're getting this stuff done by Halloween, like I said. Juniors and sophomores, you have a little more time. Good for you. Just start thinking, like, especially in your junior year, like the places you want to apply, get like a list, talk to your parents about like what applications you can apply for and how you can apply for them. It's really like good to think about this stuff in advance because I am a bit of a procrastinator, and so I did procrastinate a little bit, and that really makes you really stressed out. But if you have everything done beforehand, then that makes your senior year a lot like easier to go through, just because you're not worrying about like, you know, am I going to be admitted? Is there stuff like I have to do that I haven't done? It just really makes your senior year a little easier on yourself, just so you can like focus on just getting through the year rather than like doing all the extra applications and stuff. So recommend that. Maverick Academic Scholar, that's another scholarship program we have that closes in around mid-February. It also closes with a ton of other financial aid options that we do have that are offered by individual departments and colleges as well as the university itself. So if you don't get it in by that December deadline, that like middle of February is usually when that's going to take place. It goes between like the 14th, 15th, and 16th, honestly, between the years. So again, just make sure you can see 2019, 2020. These are a little older, but it's still going to be around that same general area of time. So just making sure you're looking at that, just being aware. Cool. And last, we'll mention Terry Scholars. So Terry Foundation Scholarships. That deadline is in February. It's usually always going to be in February. That covers everything about your entire like, you know, college career. So for like our seniors, if you've been completely involved throughout your entire high school like career, you are graduating, most of y'all I'm assuming are graduating from Texas high schools as part of Upward Bound if you're talking right now. So you could be eligible for these scholarships. You just have to have, like it says, the criteria mentioned there. Sophomores, so our rising sophomores, if y'all like are thinking like, oh, how can I get involved over like your high school career to really maximize your potential for these scholarships, just think of these things. Community leadership, so if you're volunteering, make sure you can like go volunteer at a place where you're not only doing like the basic work, but like actually getting involved in organizing and like helping your community. Academic ability, just keep those grades up. That's like the biggest tip, is keep those grades up. I wasn't quite as able to do that my junior year, but it's still like really important too. So just make sure you're like keeping dedicated to that, because really high school is when that starts to matter to like your whole like GPA and college stuff. So make sure you're doing all that stuff. So yeah, that's just another scholarship. Again, covers literally every expense you could possibly have. when you come to college. So you can just like give them like the receipt and they'll be able to like reimburse you for that stuff, which is a really good scholarship. It means you don't have to pay anything to go to college, which is such a deal. So make sure you're looking out for that, keeping that in mind. But yeah, UTA is #1 in Texas and #2 in the nation for lowest student debt. So we talked about all these scholarships and financial aid. UTA is really generous with their financial aid and scholarships. You just have to make sure to get your admission stuff in before those deadlines. And it's always been important to us. Like I said before, socioeconomic like diversity is a huge part at UTA. That's kind of why we were founded, was to provide like a higher quality of education for the students in North Texas. And so really making sure that we stay dedicated to having multiple like different classes and everyone being able to like, you know, pursue this education is really important to us. So yeah, high cost education. All right, so yeah, that's the end of the slideshow. So then we're gonna switch over to the virtual tour really quick. Does anyone have any questions about anything? I know we ran through a lot of information. A lot of it was really technical. So if y'all have like any questions about that, like right here, College Park Center. This is the like main sports arena that we have on campus. And so in there, we have all of our basketball and volleyball games going on. All UTA students have free admission to those games. You don't have to pay anything for those tickets. The first couple hundred students usually get like a free, free merch or something for being the first 200 or 500 students there. Usually it's like a free hat or a free shirt. I know once I went and they had free pulled pork sandwiches for the first 200 students there. So that was really fun. That was really good. You know, get a free like dinner and a show. What more could you ask for? That's there in front of us, Vandergrift Hall. That is where I live. Those top 3 floors are one of the 4 residence halls we have. Double occupancy style housing, like we saw earlier. Yeah, and it's, you know, that's where I lived. It's the best residence hall. It is above a Panera and a Pi 5, so like places to eat as well. And then as we keep turning, we'll have Arlington Hall over here, and so all that. This area, this is a really like central point on campus. This is Brazos Park. Brazos Park is literally like the giant green space we have in the middle of campus that really lets us focus in and like have like events and things. So earlier this month, we had a Juneteenth celebration out here. As you can see, tabling occurs. This is where bid day is. So I'm in an interfraternity council fraternity and sorority life on campus. We'll have a bid day out here in Brazos Park. We have Waffleopolis, which happens at the start of the fall semester. Everyone comes out at like 8:30 p.m. and so all the like students are gathered together. You can find new people and like meet people and have fun. There's Belgian waffles that are piled with like whipped cream and chocolate syrup and sprinkles and caramel shell, and then you can put a cherry on top and eat that, you know, really focusing on health. But, you know, really fun like event. I ran into one of my friends from high school who I didn't even know was going to UTA at Waffleopolis, which is really cool. Over here, as we keep turning, we have the University Center. The University Center is really, so it's like, we call it the UC because a lot of syllables, not really our style. The UC is our like student union, student center, where a lot of student amenities and like centers of student life is located. So in there, we'll have like, you know, you can see right inside the Connections Cafe. That's where one of our dining halls is located. So you have all you can eat buffet style in there. They have a pizza bar, they have a stir fry station. They have what we call Rooted, which is like an international kitchen. So they'll have pasta nights, tacos and fajitas. They'll have, what's the other one they have? They have meatloaf there sometimes. I was raised on meatloaf. I love meatloaf. All that sort of stuff. And then if you just want traditional American fare, they do have the kitchen, which is where they have like hamburgers, hot dogs, and curly fries, if that's more your vibe. Also in here, we have the UC Plaza, which is like our food court. So you can grab a bite to eat at the Chick-fil-A, Panda Express, all that stuff inside, all that good sort of stuff. Yeah, cool. So all that sort of stuff. We also have the Lockheed Martin Career Development Center. So the Career Development Center does exactly what it says, honestly. So you can go there. They have like interview writing help. They have like mock interview services. So if you need to beef up your interview skills, you can go there. They also have resume writing help. So if you just need someone to help you elaborate or like structure your like resume, you can do that. They also host 3 different job fairs each semester, get you connected to people in like DFW and employers in DFW, Texas, the United States, globally, all that sort of stuff. They can really help you with that. If you don't know exactly what you want to do, they also have some services that can help figure out like where your skills lie and what like stuff you'd like to do in the future. So what's happening here, the place we're looking at right now, this is called Ransom Hall. Ransom Hall houses a lot of really important stuff. So the first floor houses our University Advising Center. So that's where all freshmen are advised. So if you're here and you have less than 30 credit hours, that includes any like AP, IB, or dual enrollment stuff from your high school, then that's where you'll go to be advised. And that's where, so that advising appointment gets you your schedule. That person just makes sure you have like, you know, the right major, you're getting through the core curriculum, all that really important stuff. Do y'all know what credit hours are? If you know what credit hours are, you can like, I guess, raise your hand or just say yes in the chat or whatever, or just put a letter in the chat if you want. You can do that. But yeah, credit hours, if y'all don't know what it is, credit hours are just essentially how many like credits a class is worth. All of our courses, all of our like degrees are broken down by how many credit hours you need. Usually 120 is about a like typical amount for how many credits you'll need. And credit hours can kind of really easily be translated into how many hours per week you're going to class. So it is a little different from high school in that we really only take 15 to 18 credit hours. So if you think right now you're going to class for about 40 hours a week, in college, you're only going to class for about 15 to 18 hours. That does give you a lot more free time, allows you to like, you know, join all these organizations, clubs, have another job, but it also gives you a lot of free time to do some studying that you have to like, you know, take advantage of that yourself. But yeah, so yeah, 30 credit hours, that usually is about 2 semesters, University Advising Center, and then you're shifted over to departmental advising in the specific major of your choice, if you like are like, if you've decided what major you want to do. On the 3rd floor of the Ransom Hall, we'll also talk about the counseling and psychological services. So wellness, like I mentioned before, is part of the Maverick Way, part of like what makes UTA like UTA. And so at counseling and psychological services, all UTA students have 6 free sessions each semester with a trained mental health professional. They have 18 trained clinicians on staff in the counseling and psychological services that you can turn to. After those 6 free sessions each semester, it goes to just $10 a session. So it's really easy to access those services. Super highly recommend doing that, just because taking care of yourself is really what's important. Like, you can have the degree and all of that stuff and get to the end of college, but you really want to enjoy your college experience, and part of that is making sure you're taking care of yourself, and so that's where mental health comes in. Another really important thing with mental health is making sure you're getting out of your room, you're joining a lot of these organizations and things that we have on campus. Like I mentioned before, UTA has about 300 student organizations, and at the start of every fall semester, it's like the 2nd Wednesday of class. What we'll have is the organizations fair, and that's where you'll see tables lined up all along this walkway we're looking at right now. And so you can go around, you can join all those. Like I mentioned, like try and join as many as you can your freshman year, as many as you're interested in, and then you can really like narrow down which ones you like are looking for, which ones you'd like to join, and which ones you'd like to like be president of, or treasurer, or vice president of. That way you're like really getting involved and like actually contributing to them and all that sort of stuff while still having fun. Next, we'll move over to the library. I'm sure y'all are familiar with what a library does. Congrats, ours does the same thing. So in the library, you can go. It's a really central place to study on campus. The first 3 floors are loud study floors. So if you've always like, you know, had your like friends around, or you've like always like lived in like with your brothers and sisters, and you just need like a loud place with stuff going on in the background to study, then you can go to the central library and study in the first 3 floors. They also have our Division of Student Success on the 2nd floor, so that's a lot of included in tuition tutorial services. They're going to have drop-in tutoring, so if you just need help with whatever like class you're working on, like if you're stumped on homework or anything, you can go there and they can help you. They also have supplemental instruction, so that's like and office hours with an aide who's like separate from your professor, who can help you with all that sort of stuff, who can like get you like exam prep, get you writing essays, and all that fun sort of stuff. So you just like kind of really have a good grasp of it. We're not here to like make you fail. We're here to like help you succeed. All of our administrative like functions here are specifically to help all of our students like, you know, do well. And so that's what we really like look for and what we're like actively searching for. And like you saw, like I was mentioning, again, bringing it back to the Maverick Way, integrity is a huge portion of that. And so taking the like offered tutorial services rather than like the easy way out of just like, you know, searching it on Quizlet or getting it off a Chegg, like it actually like offers you an opportunity to like, you know, learn the material, do good, and actually use the services that you're paying for, and all that sort of stuff in the library. Yeah, cool. So over to the left, we have the Science Hall. So the Science Hall, take a wild guess what subject is housed in there. So in there we have a lot of like physics and chemistry lectures that happen. And so we also are doing a lot of labs and research. So that's more for Science Hall, more houses like astronomical research. So antimatter lab, that has our solar weather lab, as well as dark energy and dark matter going on in there. And so that's where some of those research opportunities are. And then to the right of it, through these trees that you can see, if I zoom in, oh, I can zoom in. Oh, wow, that was a jump. If you see, like this building right here, that's our chemistry building. So you can like do like research that way as well, in like chemistry and like how chemicals like unfold, and like you can do inorganic or organic chemistry. I was gonna be part of a lab that did protein and enzyme folding once, so all that sort of stuff. You can like join those labs. Really quickly, if you do like a STEM sciencey major, also you do have a science core curriculum course that you have to take. So you'll probably have to take like Chem 1 or Bio 1 or Physics 1 or something like that. They are split up into 2 sections. So instead of doing like the lab, so like doing your titration in chemistry, if all have taken chem yet, or if you're doing like, you know, the dissection of like a frog, say in your bio class, instead of doing that at the same time as you're learning the material, it'll be a separate, like, devoted time specifically for doing all those experiments and stuff. Over to your left, we have University Hall, which houses the College of Liberal Arts. So COLA is going to be housing our political science courses. Also houses our history courses, as well as criminal justice and criminology. They're all going to be housed up in there, and so that's going to be where their departmental advising is. So after you work in the University Advising Center in your sophomore year, that's where you'll go to get advised and plan for your next schedule, and all that sort of stuff. Also housed in University Hall in the basement is our student activity or student access and resource center, SARC. And so in there, that's for any students who need any testing accommodations or service animal credentials, anything like that. It's also a space for students with disabilities to just chill out for a little bit and just kind of like take a breather from like being outside and doing all the classes and stuff, and just have a little bit of a reprieve from all of that. So that is also all going on in University Hall. Don't be afraid to reach out and like, you know, use that resource. It is there specifically for students with like any type of disability, so ADHD, any neurodivergent, like, you know, thing that's going on. You can always reach out to them. That's part of our diversity and inclusion and respect and civility, is just making sure that we have like the opportunities provided to them so they can succeed. Because again, we don't want to see you fail. Really, almost no one wants to see anyone fail, and so especially at UTA, it's like, we want everyone to graduate, have a high GPA, go on to do great things, get hired, be successful, do stuff. We have like 3 Pulitzer Prize winning journalists and stuff, so we want to see people doing things. We're going to go into Wolf Hall. This is part of our engineering department. So if you want to be, like I saw earlier, mechanical engineer, mechanical engineering departmental advising is housed in Wolf Hall. So that's developing all like the factory and like, you know, like production organization, and like, you know, those machines. We also have computer science and computer engineering in software engineering. That's also part of our College of Engineering that we have. That's also like a whole like thing. that they can go. They can take those classes. They can learn all of the coding things that they need to. That's really where they'll get into just like, you know, making these programs. I had a friend, actually had 2 friends graduate with comp sci degrees, and they spend a lot of hours making those programs, doing a lot of like really high tech like C++ and Java and all that sort of HTML and all those fun code languages. We're going to go to chemistry and physics building. So any of our like science majors I was talking about at Science Hall, they also have a chemistry and physics building. So in this building, they have a lot of freshman chemistry labs. So like Chem 1, this is where they'll do like titrations and things. They also have a planetarium, as you can see right here. This is like Carl Sagan talking about like, this is a galaxy stuff, but also like Pink Floyd's laser light shows go on in the planetarium. And so like that's open to the public, anyone can see it. But other stuff going on in the physics building, they're doing like quantum physics research over here. So this is where a lot of our like, you know, high energy physics, where those professors who go over to CERN in Switzerland who are doing the Large Hadron Collider, if you know what that is, that's where like they're all housed. This is also our home for departmental advising in chemistry and biochemistry, as well as our physics department. So this is where they're all housed and they do all their sort of stuff. And a lot of that research goes on here. We also have the SEER building. So SEER stands for Science and Engineering Innovation and Research. Again, we don't like saying a lot of syllables, so SEER building for short. In here, this is mainly a research facility. So life sciences research goes on in here. The basement floor houses our North Texas Genome Center. So that is the only like genomics lab in North Texas. And so down there, that's where they're doing like studies and assays for our COVID tests. So we do have free COVID testing as UTA students, and so they're actually able to like run the tests in-house. So they're able to get us our COVID like results within 24 hours usually, which is like really great. But they're not only doing COVID stuff, they're also doing like neurodegenerative disease research, heart health, anti-aging, anti-cancer. All that sort of stuff. And we do have some larger style lecture halls in here. So there are classes that every UTA student has to take, or a lot of UTA students have to take. Those classes are going to be like Bio or Chem 1, just to fulfill that like core curriculum requirement. They're going to be housed in there, like 200 students in those lecture halls. We also have Texas Government and Politics or US Government and Politics. They'll also have to take those classes, and just fitting all UTA students through those classes really wouldn't work if you only had like 20 people in the class. So really it's a 200-person lecture most of the time. But yeah, so SEER building, if you want to do like life sciences research, it's down here. Biology, psychology department is located just right next door to the SEER. So it's like in between the SEER and the library. So it's like right next to them, right next to University Hall, which we just saw. That's where our life sciences majors are done. So if you want to be a psychologist or study biology, all that sort of stuff, that's where they're headquartered. Next, we have the Fine Arts building. So Fine Arts, this is our like theater, music people. This is our Irons Recital Hall. So Irons Recital Hall is one of the main like, you know, performance spaces we have for music on campus. This is in the south section of the Fine Arts building. So also in the south section, we have a lot of our music production and music business operations. So Studio 301, that's our like music production facility on campus. That's housed in the south section. Also in there, we have some like practice rooms that are like completely redone in the past couple of years. In the center section, we have our communications department. So again, that's like advertising and like PR and all that sort of stuff. And yes, most people do have to take communications classes. Intro to public speaking, huge class, everyone has to take it. And so that also happens in our communications department. And then in the north end, that is where our theater majors are held, as well as like visual communications and art video and art media. That's also housed up there. Art history, graphic design is also housed in that north section. So that's where a lot of that stuff goes on. So Fine Arts building, again, you don't have to be a fine arts major to do any of this stuff. So if you do like play an instrument now, or if you're involved in theater now, but you want to major in something else, you can still do this. That's a great thing about UTA, is you can like venture out into all this stuff. Smart Hospital for our nursing majors. So if you want to be a nurse, this is where they'll go before they have their whole this is where they'll go before they have their whole like clinicals. So clinicals for nursing, that's where you go to an area hospital and you're actually working with real patients and things. But this is where they'll go before then, just to get a little practice. Also, it's better for insurance claims if they're not dealing with real people right off the bat. And so you can practice a lot of the hospital procedures. You see these cameras in the ceiling. That's for our nursing professors to actually be outside of the room watching what the students are doing rather than having to be inside, like, and actually there. So it really honestly mimics a hospital environment, and that you're like the only people on the floor, but it's actually going to be like when you're actually working. We have a lot of different facilities at UTA that really reflect this whole, like, we reflect like a professional environment where you're actually working. So the Shorthorn, our newspaper, is very like professionally run, so you can, it's like you're basically working in a newspaper, or like our UTA radio station, same thing. So you can take like radio communication and like act like you're actually in a radio station, because it is a real radio station. iHeartRadio, if you go online, you can search up UTA Radio and listen. They do alternative and indie rock, so if that's your jam, like, go for it. Kappa Building, College of Architecture, Planning, and Public Affairs. So in there, if you want to be an architect or interior design major, that's where this stuff happens. They also have Institute of Urban Studies, so that's like urban design, architecture, fine arts library. So if you want to look at some cool art books, notebooks, all that sort of stuff, and famous artists. I actually had to do a like recopy of a Michelangelo sketch that we have housed here. So that was really fun. That's all down here in College of Architecture and Planning and Public Affairs. Yeah. And then I think we only have like one more slide, 2 more slides to go after Maverick Activity Center. Basically, we're done with departmental advising. So Maverick Activity Center, this is our rec, it's our gym on campus. So this is where students can go hang out, be well, be fit, all that sort of stuff. We have a rock climbing wall in here, indoor soccer court, the indoor basketball courts you can see, all that fun sort of stuff. I am a member of the indoor volleyball, co-ed indoor volleyball championship intramural team. So that's fun. We have our like cardio sections, weightlifting sections, so hashtag get those gains, all that sort of stuff. And then if we skip a little further along, we will end here in the Studio Arts Center. If we get to it, yeah, cool. So Studio Arts Center, this is our glass blowing studio. So this is just another example of like some of the stuff you can take through like UTA. You don't have to be like a glass blowing major to, like, you know, be here and be in this class. So, you know, just whatever you feel. Yeah, cool. So that is the tour. Yeah, honestly, I'll just open everything up to the floor. If you have any questions about anything, like, feel free to let me know. You're good. Awesome. Great to hear. I'm turning the fan back on because I have changed my mind completely and now I'm hot. So that's going. Cool. But yeah, nice. Yeah, we do. We do have an aerospace engineering program. That's also housed in Wolf Hall, where we saw the race cars. That's also housed, so that also houses our aerospace engineering department, so departmental advising. We have really good working relationships with like Lockheed Martin, so if you want to get hired that way, you can do that as well. If you want to go with like anything, just anything of the sort, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, really cool. Lockheed Martin, NASA. We produced 2 NASA astronauts, by the way, so if you want to like get involved that way, you can do all that. Yeah, cool. Cool.
If you have any questions, go ahead and use your microphone or type it in the chat box while we still have them here.
This is like one of the few times y'all are going to get to face. Oh yeah, definitely a lot cooler than 20 July. Yeah, this is one of like the times that you're going to be face to face with like an actual college student. So if you have any like concerns or like if you have questions about college, baseball, we have a really good baseball program. So like we have really good fun to go out to the baseball fields on like a spring night, and that's really cool. We do a really good baseball program. Yeah, we do really good. But yeah, we do have baseball. Is there welding? I'm not exactly sure. Y'all are asking a ton of questions. Welding, I believe we have welding in the Studio Arts Center. You can like look it up online, uta.edu, and that should have a list of like all of the different course options that we have available, like a directory. We also have like classrooms and all that sort of stuff. What sports are there? We have so many. So are you asking about intramural sports, or are you asking about like, divisional, like, inter-university athletics? Because like if you're asking for like university athletics, we have basketball, volleyball, we have track and cross country programs. We also have baseball, like I mentioned earlier, baseball and softball. Moving Mavs is a wheelchair basketball team, and all that sort of stuff. We also, for intramurals, if you do a little more intramural, we have cheer. Oh, we do have a cheer program, yeah. Cheer, dance, and band teams. UTA cheerleaders doing all sorts of stuff. They actually practice in the MAC. They have their own separate gym. They do have cheer. Locomotive engineering / train conductor. I have not heard of that. I don't believe so. If you do you can take things like civil engineering. Civil engineering is a lot of like studying how like pipes and rails and all that stuff works and how those are laid. You can also take like industrial engineering and just some of those basic engineering courses, and they include like a lot of like internal combustion engine design, all that sort of stuff, boilers, etc. So if you want to take that, there's some like options there as well. For chiropractic, so it's not. I believe like for chiropractic, it's not going to go through our medical program. It's going to go through more like our kinesiology department and our exercise science department, so biomechanics and things like that. So that'll be just like a slightly different like course, just because for our medical, that's like surgeons and nursing and things like that. But if you go through our College of Nursing and Health Innovation, we do have kinesiology courses that can do all that sort of like chiropractic and stuff. Yeah. Or photography program. Oh, sure. Yeah. So we do have photography as part of the northern section of the Fine Arts Building. It's all included in there, against like all of the other like visual arts and VCOM programs. A lot of those photography classes that we have, so you can like learn all of that sort of stuff, and so you can like excel that way. Religion, yeah, there are several religion-based clubs. So we have a lot of student ministries. Focus is one of them. So you can just like get involved that way. They do a lot of Bible study, Bible readings, and all sort of stuff that way. So all manner of those religion-based organizations you can join. They're again going to be available at the activity fair. All right, so I think it is 2:49 right now. So I think we are good to go if like all of our advisors are cool with it. I think if you put your name in the chat and you don't have any more questions, like feel free to log out, and yeah, have a good day, stay safe, stay cool, and good luck. Have a great rest of 2021.